It was a simple story about a boy who was lost and a girl who was broken. They fought alongside a survivor, a war veteran, and a fallen knight. I led them into battle against an evil so terrible it tried to black out the stars. We fought for each other. We fought for those who could not. But we never imagined it would end like this.
This is a time of difficult choices. Sometimes impossible ones.
As long as we're together, we've got a chance.
At least we'll go down fighting.
All paths are coming together now.
It's time to get to work.
We are the balance, Ezra. We were meant to be Jedi so we could be here now, when Lothal needs us most.
May the Force be with you.
So much Star Wars happening this weekend. This is the final season of Rebels, so I'll also try to explain the next animated series that they'll be rolling out. There is that Forces of Destiny animated series that they teased, but that's really short. I'll play the trailer for that later in this video. But the really big announcements first. Ahsoka is confirmed is coming back. Dave Filoni even wore this funny t-shirt, and of course they're not going to kill her off screen. Comic book rules, if you don't see their death on screen, they're still alive out there somewhere.
Ahsoka. Ahsoka.
I won't leave you. Not this time.
Then you will die.
And obviously Darth Vader's out there too. You have to remember that this is leading directly into the events of Rogue One, which then leads directly into the events of the original trilogy. So as this is the last season, it'll lead directly into the events of Rogue One. Hera will become a general because she was name-dropped during Rogue One. There was General Syndulla. So if you missed it, when you rewatch Rogue One, during the Yavin 4 sequences, they actually call her out on the PA system as a general. So by the end of Season 4, she's going to be a general. And Warwick Davis is going to be voicing this character here. His name's Rook. He's a Nogri warrior who's one of the personal bodyguards of Thrawn. So it's just another character that they pulled from the EU, but he's Thrawn related. So you have to imagine if they're going to bring Thrawn into the canon, then they're going to bring all the other really cool stuff that comes with him. And the really cool thing that the story group did is that they just canonized Rex as this person during Return of the Jedi. So Rex has been here for almost every single Star Wars iteration with the exception of the new sequel trilogy. Because if he's this old at the end of Return of the Jedi, then just think about how ancient he would be when Episode 7 picks up. But, who knows? They could always stick Rex in the new trilogy somewhere too. But like I said, Thrawn is the big bad. The connective tissue with Rogue One in Season 4 is going to explain why during Rogue One, the Rebellion is so hesitant to move against the Empire. Like it takes Jyn Erso a long time to get them up to speed. They have to get the plans, then they finally join the fight by the end of the movie. They move a fleet in or a portion of their fleet. They end up losing it, but they get the plans so they get their fighting chance, and you get to your original trilogy storyline with the destruction of the first Death Star. But Rebels has been all about the creation of the rebellion itself. They went from a bunch of splinter cells, like Saw Gerrera is the leader of one of the splinter cells that's really hardcore. He's confirmed to be coming back during Season 4. The rebellion started out with separate groups like that. Then they slowly came together with the organizational help of Mon Mothma, who's also coming back during Season 4. And by the time you get to the end of Rebels Season 4 and early Rogue One, they are officially the rebellion that you remember from the original trilogy. But basically what they're saying is that Thrawn is going to smash them hardcore and make them super afraid to do anything when we get to Rogue One. But Rogue One and the destruction of the first Death Star are sort of the rally moment for the rebellion when they start to go on the offensive. So there's just a number of questions that they have to answer by the end of the series. One, what happens to all of these characters with the exception of Hera, who we know makes it to Rogue One because she's a general, but what happens to Ezra? What happens to Sabine? What happens to Zeb? What happens to the rest of the crew? The Ghost and Chopper were actually there during the Rebel sequences on Yavin 4 and then later during the big final battle. You can actually see the Ghost here in this big fight here. Chopper's here in this background scene. So they're still alive, but where were they during the original trilogy? There's just so many questions left to answer. Sometimes they leave those for the comics and the books, but as this trailer tells you, like we started out as this ragtag group of broken people that came together. We became much stronger as a family together. That family became the rebellion. So that's why by the end of the trailer you see Hera in full rebel gear as all these fighters punch in ready to get down to business. So let me know, what do you guys think of Rebels so far? And yeah, it sucks that it's going off the air. I think it had a pretty good audience, even though it's primarily aimed at younger viewers. There was never a big audience for it on YouTube. Like, I know you guys kind of check it out every once in a while, but it's not a week-to-week thing like a lot of the other TV shows that I do. But if you haven't been watching it, I recommend you check it out at least for Thrawn, just because Thrawn is such a huge character in the Star Wars universe that hasn't quite made it to the movies yet. Maybe someday in one of the anthology movies. But speaking of the movies, so obviously Star Wars is going to do another animated series set during a different time with a different group of characters. The thought is that they've always been moving towards a series set during the new trilogy. So that means set during the events of Last Jedi, Episode 9, Episode 7, just any time in between there with some of the characters that you're probably familiar with, some of the Resistance characters. So they haven't officially confirmed what that's going to be. It'll probably be Comic-Con before they hint about that. They're still trying to promote Rebels, but just expect a series set during the new film. So you guys can let me know, if they do that, what do you want them to include? Because typically what they do with the animated series is that there are a few off-limits characters. We saw baby Luke Skywalker, but I wouldn't expect them to do a series about Luke. It would be cool to see what he's doing between Episode 6 and Episode 7, but typically the cartoons are for filling in the gaps, with the exception of the Clone Wars, just because that happened during a time when they weren't making any new movies, and George Lucas hadn't really shown any interest yet in making a new trilogy. What's going to happen next is because there's so much Star Wars stuff that I've been posting, next will be Game of Thrones and Doctor Who, and if there's anything else that's really big, I'll try to post it. But I've been posting so many videos, so I'm going to try and step it back to 2 videos a day, which is my normal schedule, just because it's been so crazy this weekend. So if there's anything that I haven't done a video on, Star Wars related that you want me to do, just let me know in the comments. I know there's still a whole bunch of questions about The Last Jedi and what's going on with the future of the Force. Is Luke Skywalker completely lost his mind because he wants to get rid of the Jedi Order? So a lot of that we can address next week, but the video schedule should relatively return to normal in the next day or two. But while you wait for that, you can click here to learn about all the Easter eggs in The Last Jedi trailer, and you can click here for the Battlefront 2 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.